If artificial intelligence is assuming roles once filled by humans, and it's doing so with bias, we don't just have a tech or unemployment story. We have another 2030 crisis story, because this means two things. First, we face increased unemployment as machines and algorithms replace human work. Second, we have biased computers running the show in hiring, lending, healthcare, and even justice, quietly shaping who wins and who loses in human society. This combination is a dangerous accelerant to the 2030 Great Depression predictions we've been tracking. A labor market crunch made worse by invisible automated gatekeepers. In the last few years, we've seen AI go from a sci-fi movie to a daily reality. It's helping doctors, driving cars, and even writing emails. But what if the very thing that makes AI so powerful, its ability to learn from us, is also its most dangerous flaw? The issue is simple but profound. AI is not an impartial, objective force. It is a mirror reflecting the data it's trained on. And because our own society is filled with deep-seated biases around age, race, gender, and socioeconomic status, our AI tools are learning and perpetuating those same biases on a massive, unprecedented scale. Instead of being neutral, these technologies can automate and accelerate unfair outcomes in sensitive areas like hiring, healthcare, and law enforcement.
Bias in employment AI recruiting and screening tools are now common in the hiring process, but they are highly susceptible to bias from their training data. If an AI is trained on data from a company with a historically white, male-dominated workforce, the algorithm will learn to favor the resumes of candidates who fit that profile. As a result, the AI may penalize or overlook qualified candidates from underrepresented groups. In a well-known example, Amazon had to scrap an AI recruiting tool because it discriminated against women. As long as AI has a bias problem, it remains a dangerous tool that should be used with extreme caution, if at all.
And it doesn't stop there. AI is increasingly being used in credit scoring, housing approvals, and even healthcare triage, meaning that if bias is built into the system, entire communities can be shut out of opportunities or receive worse medical care without anyone realizing why. The stakes are not theoretical, they are immediate and personal. And that brings us to the next question. Just how big is this problem, and why does it matter for the entire economy? The problem isn't just that AI can be biased, it's that it can amplify and scale bias in a way humans never could. A biased human hiring manager might reject a few candidates over their career. A biased AI used by hundreds of companies can affect millions of potential employees instantly and silently. If the AI is skewed, the entire future of being hired and upward mobility is skewed with it.
Economists warn that by 2030, job displacement from automation could affect up to 30% of the global workforce. Add bias to the mix, and millions could be locked out of recovery. Imagine a generation growing up in an economy where algorithms decide who gets hired, who gets a loan, and who gets healthcare priority.
The biggest danger is the perception of objectivity. We tend to trust technology, assuming that because a computer is making a decision, it must be fair. This black box problem, the inability to see how AI arrives at its conclusions, makes the bias even more insidious. Systemic inequalities are not just replicated, they are legitimized under the guise of objective, data-driven processes. If biased humans are pouring into AI right now, producing biased data, we have to ask, who is watching the gate? Who is monitoring the training sets and correcting the biased errors as they appear? And the harder question, is it even possible to fully correct these biases? Recall, Amazon had to scrap the AI hiring project because the bias problem was too ingrained and couldn't be fixed. Right now, there is no universal oversight system, no agreed-upon ethical board, and no guarantee that bias correction is happening at the scale required, if it's even possible at this advanced AI stage. So what can be done? Some argue for a complete halt on AI development until we can guarantee fairness, but others suggest a path forward with enhanced safeguards. Addressing this requires a multi-pronged approach. First and foremost, transparency. We must demand explainable AI, systems that can show their work and allow us to see how decisions are being made. Then, diverse and representative data, Companies must clean and diversify their training data, actively seeking out representation from all populations, and human oversight and auditing, continuous monitoring and human review of AI decisions, especially in high-stakes areas like healthcare, criminal justice, and finance. And regulation. Governments are beginning to act, like the EU AI Act, holding companies accountable for biased outcomes. The central truth is that biased AI causes real-world harm on a massive scale. We have a choice to make. Do we accept this as the cost of progress, or do we commit to building AI that challenges our inequalities rather than amplifies them? And the timeline to get this right is short. Within just a few years, AI will be embedded in every hiring process, every loan application, every medical approval system. If we don't address bias now, we risk baking discrimination into the future at a scale that will be almost impossible to unwind.
Biased AI is projected to significantly exacerbate global crises by 2030, intensifying existing inequalities and undermining UN progress. Instead of being a neutral tool for progress, biased AI can amplify systemic disadvantages in ways that affect global stability, public welfare, and economic prosperity.
Until we can answer this question on how to clean sweep bias from AI, we all have a role to play in questioning the technology we use every day. Because when it comes to a technology that influences everything from who gets a job to who gets a fair trial, fairness isn't a feature. It's a requirement. Quick question. What do you think? Are we moving too fast with AI, or not fast enough to fix its problems? Leave a comment below on your take on AI.